Hey everyone, Happy New Year. Feels like so long since I've been here with an AskAmy. So today I have a question from Trish, and just before I get to Trish's question, I just want to mention that we did extend the end of year. We're not at the end of the year anymore, but we extended the huge end of year sale that I'm having on all my digital products and courses through today at midnight, and this is Monday, January 4th. So if you haven't had a chance to check it out, please do. There's all kinds of stuff there, up to 50% off, including a seat in the March Little School of Big Change guided course. And that March course will be the only time I'm leading the Little School of Big Change in 2021. So it's a great opportunity to get a really big discount on that course and a great time to do it if you've been thinking about doing it. So let me get to Trish's question. Trish says, can you speak about depersonalization? I've been feeling this way since March, and I've been searching and searching for why I'm fuzzy brained. I read a book called At Last a Life, and boom, I found me in there. I actually thought I was on the right track with this anxiety stuff until March when I checked out. My tinnitus has gotten worse, and my busy mindedness is flowing back in. Is this really just another branch of anxiety, or is it a medical thing? Since reading this book, I've observed how much thinking I do about myself, and it's a lot. And it's all about how do I get out of this fog, and is there something I have to do? Your thoughts on this would be great. So, yeah, I love this topic. There's a lot of places to go, and I won't go too deep, but I want to point there a little bit with the whole depersonalization thing. So, just for everyone, deep, and this is not a scientific definition or anything, but depersonalization kind of describes this general feeling of not feeling like yourself, like feeling depersonalized, right? We all have a way that we're used to feeling, and us that we're used to kind of identifying with, a sense of us. It's not a real us, but our mind says, oh, this is me, and this is how I feel, and this is my reality, this is how things look and feel. And we, as we do with everything, we kind of just come to take that for granted and forget that it's being created within us. So when people go through what they sometimes call depersonalization, it's like Trish said, it's this sometimes this sense of kind of fuzziness where I've heard so many different ways of describing it, and I've experienced it too, where like reality just feels a little fuzzy. It almost sometimes feels like you're in a dream, or like you're sleepwalking, or like you're not sure who you are, or like you're maybe not in your body so much. So I don't know. I kind of just think of it as this catch-all in a sense for feeling not like yourself, but in a in a fuzzy kind of unrealistic sort of way. I hope that jives with how it feels for you, Trish. It sounds like it does. Um, and so I think it's so interesting. Trish says she's been feeling this way 24/7. She says since March, and in a really big picture way, it kind of begs the question in a sense, like if you haven't been feeling like your idea of you, if you haven't been feeling like yourself as you see and recognize and feel yourself since March, and you say 24/7, I know you're suffering, and I want to speak to that, and I know this can feel like a really scary experience, but also in a bigger picture way, it really kind of begs the question, well, maybe that thing that you think is you, maybe that sense of you that feels so solid that you can't find your way back to since March isn't really you. Because if it was, where'd it go? Where does it go for 9 months? And I'm not really asking you to actually answer that, Trish, but I do want you to kind of reflect on that. This whole depersonalization thing is really based on us having a very solid idea, and that's all it is, a set of thoughts about who we think we are and how we think we're supposed to feel. And again, of course we do. Like, of course we do. And we've gone through our lives just taking all of this and how life looks and all of that for granted in a sense. And so a departure from that absolutely feels strange, absolutely can bring on a lot of anxiety and can feel like a massive problem. And understandably, of course, we might be scrambling to get back to what felt so real and true. But rather than seeing it as, oh, there's this major problem, there's a me I can't get back to for 9 months, no less, maybe it's an opportunity to say, hey, maybe that me I'm scrambling to get back to wasn't really me. Maybe the reality as it looked and seemed was not the whole picture, and that was not the reality or my life or how I feel. Maybe this whole experience thing is much more fluid and in motion than it ever seemed. So that's the big picture. And Trish, I'm not spending a lot of time there because I want to give you something that I think you can hear, and understandably, uh, that may be too big right now. So you ask if this is another branch of anxiety, another form of anxiety, basically, or whether it's a medical thing. And I don't see a difference between it. I mean, it could be a doctor could look at it and find something, or not. I don't know. But your experience sounds like anxiety to me, and it sounds like it feels like anxiety to you. Whether it's separate or the same or any, I mean, I don't think any of that matters. You're experiencing anxiety, you're experiencing fear and discomfort around this. So that's your experience. It's as real, that's as real as it gets. There is no other thing called anxiety or anything else. I mean, that is your experience as you're telling us about it in your question. So yes. And can you be can you be fuzzy minded? Can your tinnitus be bothering you? Can you feel a little like things are looking a little different, feeling a little different, and not have anxiety around it and have that be a different sort of experience? 100%. Absolutely. I mean, the whole depersonalization thing, it's interesting, I mean, it feels like anxiety to you, and it does to a lot of people when we get afraid of it, when our mind starts racing of, oh no, what's wrong and what's going on with me and where am I? That'll feel like anxiety. On the other hand, people take drugs to feel this way, including a glass of wine or alcohol. Like all of it is to soften our experience, or have us in seeing and feeling things in a different way. People have enlightenment experiences and feel a sense of what we might call depersonalization, where they see that they are not who they thought they were, and sometimes they're looking at their life from a different vantage point. So all kinds of, sometimes they're out of their body. All kinds of stuff like this happens. So I bring that up. I just want you to see what's important to see in that is is having a sense that things look and feel a little different than they once did is not inherently anything. That's not anxiety unless you feel it that way. And even if you feel it that way, that's just a feeling in a moment. It's not a problem. It's not a diagnosis that you have to hang on to and carry with you that has meaning to it. You can experience a fuzzy mind. We all can, in a variety of ways, some very pleasurable for a lot of people and some completely terrifying. So again, what that shows us is you're not experiencing this thing that's making you feel this way. Your thinking and your fear and your resistance and all that questioning you mentioned is what's giving you the experience that you're having. That's true all the time. Even if you loved this experience, it would also be the case that your mind and your stories and all of that, your relationship with it, would be creating the experience that you have. So I hope for you, Trish, in the thick of this, I think everyone's hearing different things in this, but for you right now in the thick of this, that can bring you a little bit of comfort, where it's like what you're feeling isn't inherently terrifying. It's not inherently anything, but a bunch of thinking comes in and makes it feel that way, which is so hopeful, which means, our thinking changes all the time. So it's not just intrinsically problematic what you're feeling. You can relax into it. You can be scared of it. You can have any experience of it. And as you relax into it more and are less afraid of it, it just stands to reason that it's going to be far less of an issue for you. So I think the most important thing you said is at the end of your question here, where you said, I've been observing how much thinking I do about myself, and it's a lot, and it's all about how do I get out of this fog, and there's something I have to do. I just want you to see anyone on planet Earth that had a ton of thinking or has a ton of thinking all about themselves, who am I, why am I feeling this way, and how do I get out of it, would feel exactly like you feel. That's no small thing. Really sit with that. This is not a Trish problem. This is not a depersonalization problem. You're telling us and you're telling yourself right here in black and white, so clear, why you're feeling the way you are. You say your mind is constantly thinking about you, which makes sense with depersonalization, right? Your mind is thinking of the person you think you are and the way you think life is supposed to feel, and saying, whoa, there's a problem. I don't feel that way. How do I get out of it? How do I make it stop? Any of us, if our mind is racing with, how do I change it? How do I change it? How do I get out of this experience? No matter what it is, we can't help but hate the experience we're in. Our mind is dictating that, right? Your thinking is saying, this is bad, this is wrong, over and over and over. Your mind is over and over and over looking for another place to be rather than where you are. That's the definition of like anxiety and discomfort and suffering. So, what if, I mean, if you've been in this, as you say, 24/7 since March, there have to have been moments where it's a little more manageable than other moments, where it's a little less on your mind, or where you still feel a little fuzzy, but you're okay with it. Like, that's where I want you to look, because that's there all the time. It can't be about let me hate where I am and get somewhere else so I can be okay. In anything in life, that's never going to work for us, because when we're hating and saying, get me out of here, we only feel what shows up in our thinking in any given moment. So, get me out of here, I hate this, is going to be our experience, no matter what we're trying to run away from. So again, I don't want to dismiss that this is freaky and scary and doesn't feel like you and all that, and that a lot of people wouldn't feel very unsettled. I've felt this when I had a lot of anxiety, and it was horribly unsettling for me too. But I do want you to see it in and of itself, the feelings you're feeling, what's going on, isn't the hard part. It isn't the suffering's not coming from that. It's coming from what you say, this constant search for, there's a problem here, I need to change it, I need to fix it, who am I and how do I get back to me? And when you can see all that racing mind as, and all the discomfort as this reminder, like, oh, maybe I can just hang out in this fog for a minute. Maybe I can be okay without things having to change right here. Maybe I'm not this moving, changing experience. When you sink into that just a tiny bit more, you will feel things change. You'll feel it change. And then it tends to get easier and kind of snowball from there. So I hope this is helpful. Anything that looks toward anxiety and helps you see that your experience is not as it appears, that it is safe despite how it feels, I think is going to be so helpful for you, because this is anxiety, of course. That's what you're feeling. It isn't anything special. Um, so keep looking there, Trish, and I'd love to help you more if I can. So thank you so much for sending your question. Thanks everyone for listening. I hope you're having a great beginning to 2021, and I'll see you back here next Monday. Bye everyone.